You guys, things have gotten out of control in this household with some of my plants. So today we need to tame back the jungle that is my household right now. I've got some plants that are getting way too tall, way too long, some that are dragging the floor, some that are just going like all over the place willy-nilly like. So we are basically going to be just taming some things back today. And because we are going to be having to do a little bit of snipping on some of these plants, we will be propagating today as well. And I don't know, it's just been a crazy 2 weeks, you guys. I've been super busy with my day job and I just keep looking at things and I'm like, I have got to get around to taking care of that. Like now, it needs to happen today. So I'm going to take you around and we are going to look at the plants that are causing issues and we are going to just start taking care of things because I just can't handle it anymore. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so first of all, this situation right here with my Marble Queen Pothos, let's get up in there and talk about this. Okay guys, hopefully the lighting is okay here. And if you guys have been following me for a while on Instagram at Aloha Plant Life, you will know that I did post a poll about trimming this plant a while back and you guys resoundingly said no, don't do it. But like I said, we are now dragging the ground and we are trying to climb back up the windowsill. So we're going to be giving this girl a trim today. And if you're still screaming at the screen that you don't want me to do it, maybe it'll make you feel better to know that after we propagate this plant, I am going to give the propagations to my mom because she has my original propagation from this plant, but it's only one single vine. So what we propagate today, I'm going to give to her so that she can plant it back in with the plant that she already has so that she has a fuller Marble Queen Pothos. So hopefully that will make you feel a little bit better about the fact that I'm about to cut this today. But I did want to show you guys something interesting because I don't know if you can see that these leaves, some of them are solid green. And if you notice, it's alternating. So we have a solid green leaf, a variegated leaf, a solid green leaf, a variegated leaf. And basically what's happening is if we take a closer look at this stem, you'll notice one side of the stem has gone solid green, the other side is still variegated. So whenever a leaf is coming out on the side that's solid green, that's why we're getting those solid green leaves. The leaves that are coming out on that side of the stem that's still variegated, that's where we're getting the variegated leaves. So kind of an interesting thing going on here. And most of this variegation that's coming in this way is because this plant is in a north-facing window, and depending on which side it's facing the window, it's either getting light or it's not. So this vine was facing away from the window until recently when I rotated the plant. And so that is why we had started to see some of these leaves becoming more and more green. But I think it's going to be fine because like I said, half of this is still variegated, half the stem. So all of the cutting should still put out some type of variegation. But let's go ahead and give this gal a snip. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut her maybe right here below this leaf because that way she's going to be hanging almost level with the other longest vine, which is over here. It'll be a little bit higher, but she'll grow down pretty quickly to catch up with that. All right, so we've got quite a long vine here. We're going to be able to make lots of little plant babies out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cut up and get these popped into some water. And before I forget, because one of you mentioned this in a comment recently, and I realized I'd never told you guys about this, but if you have plants that you're having a hard time getting to root in water, there is a rooting hormone that comes out when you root pothos, specifically epiprimnum plants, in water. There is a hormone that they put out that stimulates root growth quicker. So a little trick you can do to try to get, like for example, your philodendron cuttings that are in water to root more quickly is to put a propagation from an epiprimnum plant in there with it, and it typically will speed that process up. But I'm gonna go get this one taken care of, like I said, and then we're gonna go look at our next plant. Alright, you guys, I feel like this lighting is absolutely horrible. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let's see if this works. Oh, That is way better, way better. Ring light to the rescue. Okay, you guys, so the next plant I want to take a look at is actually my Syngonium Glo Go, which I recently moved in here because it was getting, like I said, when we rearranged the shelves in the living room, it was getting a little bit too tall for the shelves. So I moved it into here, but it is also getting a little bit lanky, a little bit leggy, and just kind of starting to want to actually trail. And you can let Syngoniums trail if you want to, but I prefer to keep them in a more bushy appearance. So there's actually several things I could do here. I could actually propagate this and prune it and trim it back to keep it growing in a smaller, more compact, bushy appearance, but I don't really want to do that with this one yet because it's not like totally huge, and I really do want it to get like bigger. So another thing that you can do is you can actually use plant Velcro. So I've got my plant Velcro here, and you can actually just kind of Velcro the stems together to keep it in a more upright appearance. So that's what I think I'm gonna do to this one. Now, I will tell you, I feel like my white butterfly Syngonium that's in my office is kind of starting to get a little bit like this too, and obviously it's a much bigger plant. So in that situation, I could still use the plant Velcro, but I might actually propagate it. And I'm not sure if it's totally, I'm kind of looking over there in the office right now. I'm not sure if it's totally at that point of needing to be tamed yet, but you know what? After we do this one, let's go take a look at it and kind of see what we think. But first, let's get this one Velcroed up. All right, you guys, it was sitting a little bit too low in the pot for me to get to the stems well, so I just took it out of the pot and set it on the stand here. I already went ahead and I cut a piece of our plant Velcro, and we are just gonna try and get this guy tamed up here so that he is not flopping all over the place. I will tell you guys, I find these kinds of things easier to do with two people, but you know, sometimes we just gotta figure it out on our own. Now the problem here, as you can see, is that the Velcro wants to keep sliding down. So I think what I'm gonna have to do here is kind of hold everything together as best I can with one hand and try to wrap the plant Velcro around with the other hand. Okay, you guys, so first of all, just real quick, if you have somebody who can help you do this, having somebody hold the stems together for you while you put the Velcro around makes things a lot easier. Secondly, you really have to make sure that you're getting that Velcro tight, otherwise it is going to slide right down to the base of that soil. So I do have this plant nicely secured now, as you can see up in there. And so we are staying much more upright. We're more tame. We're not flopping all over the place. We're not hanging down into Ginger over here because Ginger doesn't like to be hung down into. And so I'm pretty happy about how this is looking, how this is going to go. I'm just going to have to keep an eye on it though and make sure that I actually did get that Velcro tight enough and it doesn't end up sliding down. And also, you guys, of course, you want to be careful not to go too tight because then you could potentially snap some vines. But all in all, I think this is looking way better than what it was a second ago. But let's go check on our next plant. Okay, guys, let's take a look at the Syngonium White Butterfly next and see if we think we actually need to tame it or not. Like right now, I'm just looking at it on the viewfinder in the camera. I don't think it looks that bad on camera, but I know in person it has been getting a little bit floppy. I do think I might need to water it today too by the feel of it. But as you can see, we have gotten very, very, very large, and I have officially had this plant for right at a year now, and I'll see if I can find what it looked like when I first got it and flash it up on screen for you. And I have not propagated it once, so this is totally just what 1 year worth of growth looks like. It has been repotted once back in, I believe, early summer, maybe late spring. But all in all, you know, I'm looking at it now, it doesn't look too crazy out of control, does it? I mean, I don't know. I think we might be okay for a little bit longer. It's just very large, just getting very, very large, but I think very, very beautiful as well. Let me bring you guys in a little bit closer and we can kind of see what's going on with those vines. And I can kind of show you where I feel like we're about to start trying to trail. And you know, while we're looking in there, maybe we'll decide if we really want to give it a trim or not today. Okay, you guys, so as you can see right here, you can see all of these nodes in here and where some of these like aerial roots are starting to come out. And so you can see how long the vine here is getting, and look at that. There is a stuck leaf again. Hold on, let me get this camera on the tripod so I can get in there and show you how I gently unstick leaves when this happens. All right, you guys, hopefully it stays focused. When I get in here with my hands, there's a possibility it's gonna try to focus on my fingers and not the leaf. Okay, no, it looks like it's doing okay. So you guys know this has been happening on my Philodendron brandy a lot lately with leaves getting stuck. It has also been happening here on this plant, but not all the leaves. Just occasionally am I getting leaves like this. In this one, I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of damage right here where it's gotten torn from trying to come out and being stuck. So while I'm trying to remove this, I just want to be very, very careful not to cause more damage. So if you can see, it's stuck up in here. It comes all the way up to the tip. And basically what's happening is this isn't separating, the petiole isn't separating enough for the plant to get out and it gets stuck. So what I'm gently going to do is from the base here, I'm going to just very gently kind of pull and lift towards the tip. Once I get more of it out, I'm going to try and pull this opposite direction. Come on, focus camera. There we go. Opposite direction to help slip the last part of it out. So like I said, we're just going to start right here. We're going to very gently start to lift and use it. As it comes out, I grab it further and further up the leaf. And if at any point I feel like it's going to tear or it's not going to come out, I will stop. But you guys can see I'm just going further and further up and holding as close up to where it's still stuck as I can as I pull, trying not to let my shakiness cause any kind of issue either. So now that I am getting closer to that tip, actually this tip's pretty far up, so we still have a little ways to go, or else I would start kind of pulling backwards a little bit. But we're gonna go up. Oh, we got it, it came out. I guess it wasn't quite as far up in there as I thought. So now that it's out, it will be able to unfurl. We are going to have a tear in this leaf because of that damage that was there from it being stuck, but it won't be too bad. I actually think I can find an example somewhere else on this plant to show you here in a second of where I had this happen before and how the leaf turned out. But just be very gentle when you're doing this process, but it is always helpful to your plant to help get these leaves unstuck. All right, you guys, there is a leaf way further down in here, which I would prefer to show you with a bigger tear from where it got stuck coming in, but it's covered by like so many leaves, I can't get it up on screen well for you. But one of these ones on the top does have a small tear. So as you can see there, there's that little hole right over here in that leaf. That's kind of what happens if you get stuck leaves and they accidentally get tears. They're just gonna have little holes in them. It's no big deal. The leaf's not gonna like, you know, die or start to yellow or and fall off or anything like that. It's just a little bit, you know, not as aesthetically pleasing, but you know, at least you got the leaf out, right? And like I said, not all the leaves are doing that on this plant. I'm not sure why some of them are. I have no idea what the situation is. I'm not having that problem on any of my other Syngoniums. Really, it's just the Philodendron brandy and a few leaves on this one. But I have decided that I think we still look okay right now, so I don't think we're gonna tame this one back today. I think it's holding itself together fairly well. But if I was going to prune it, and actually if I was going to tame this one, I would be pruning it just because it's so much bigger than the other Syngonium we looked at. If I was going to prune it in order to keep it in this bush-like appearance, where I would have cut it would be about 4 nodes down from where that stuck leaf was. And from there, that will allow it to kind of grow back in tighter and more compact towards the center of the plant. But for now, we're just gonna let her be and we're gonna go look at our next plant. All right, you guys, so we're gonna take a look at the Pilea glauca here, and no lie, the lighting and angles for filming situation today has been a struggle. It's really been a struggle. That's why I'm laying on the ground with the Pilea glauca right now. But as you can see, we are trailing the ground over here. We have finally grown that much since I got this plant not even that long ago. I will flash up on screen for you how long I have had it, and I will flash up what it looked like again for you guys when I originally got it. But we need to take care of this situation because, I mean, I told y'all in a recent video, this plant drops leaves all over the floor anyways as it is. I don't need it dragging its vines across the floor either and dropping even more leaves because of that. Now, from what I know about the Pilea glauca, just like other Pileas, it can be propagated in water. So we're just gonna give it a little bit of a trim and we are gonna go pop those propagations right into some water. Quickly, you guys, this is actually not one of our I guess, problem children, as it were, that needs to be tamed because it's out of control. But this is my aluminum plant, my Pilea Cadiri. And in the recent video I did for you guys about plants you can grow on a permanent basis in water, I did say that I had a hunch that it's possible to do it with this plant, but I couldn't find anybody who had even tried it. So I figured, why don't we just take a cutting today? I will try to grow it in water. I promise, fingers crossed, I will stay on top of changing out that water so that I can find out for sure for you guys if this one will survive in water. Plus, as I mentioned in another recent video, this plant has been dropping a lot of leaves and is starting to look bald. Now, from the angle you're looking at, actually still looks great. There we go, you guys. Right there, just dropped another leaf right into my hand, I swear. So from that angle, it doesn't look too bad, but if you're looking at it from underneath, and I'll shoot some footage after this and splice it in for you guys so you can see more what I'm talking about, it is starting to look pretty bald. So my plan here to fix this type of balding plant is to actually keep trimming it back slowly, not taking all of it back at once, but I have already trimmed one part off right here. Once again, I'll get some other footage closer up in there for you guys. And it has started to put out a new branch from there and some new growth, and that new growth does not have any kind of brown crispy anything going on or leaves falling off or anything like that. So I have already propagated that cutting, I think, I don't remember, a while back. It's actually already in soil now, or I would have just left that one in water for our little experiment. But I do want to gradually over time do that to all of the branches that are looking balding, but I'm waiting until new growth comes in until I cut another branch, if that makes sense, so that I'm not just like taking the whole plant back to where it looks even more bald all at once. But let's go ahead and let's take this cutting, and like I said, I will do my best to stay on top of changing the water and fertilizing the water and all the good things so that I can find out for sure for you guys if this one can survive on a permanent basis in water. All right, you guys, so we've got the Baltic blue pothos here on the wall, and as I find happens with a lot of pothos, whether it be epiprimnum or syndapsis plants, typically one vine just takes off way faster than the rest and you're left with this situation right here. Which, don't get me wrong, I kind of like this. I don't think this looks bad at all, but it is starting to get a little bit low. It's getting closer to the monstera, it's getting closer to the Tenanthe setosa over here. It's actually really trying to hang over into the Tenanthe setosa. So I'm kind of like, do we cut it? Do we cut it? Should we cut it? I mean, I've got the snips ready. Maybe we cut it. Maybe we cut it today. Maybe like right here. You know what? Nope. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. We'll do it later. All right, you guys, we are for sure giving the Micans a trim though, because it's not going to be too long before it's touching the couch again. And the other thing is, the fuller it gets right around here, the more it's going to block light. And our poor little Selaginella over here is still trying to recover from when I underwatered it a few weeks ago. So that's why I'm going to cut this up just a little bit, not too far. I mean, there's just this one kind of extra long vine here. So let's get up in there and we'll see just exactly how much we're gonna tame and trim this back. And then we'll go and pop these into some water like we've been doing with everything else. Alright, you guys, weird situation. I'm trying to find the end of this vine. This is like a loop right here. I don't know if y'all can see that, a loop, and I can't seem to find the end of it. I think it's actually climbed its way back up, but let me see if I can find it. Like, this is so weird. Holy crap, you guys, it's all the way at the top. Oh my gosh, I gotta get you close up in here to see just how long this vine actually is, and then I'll show you when I actually like untangle it. All right, you guys, so like I said, right here you can see where is the end of this vine. Well, I traced it. It's here, all the way up here. If we keep on traveling up here, eventually when you get up to the top, you're going to be able to see the growth point. Now, I don't know if you can see it. Let me get around these leaves. You see that growth point right there? That's the end of that vine. It has totally somehow managed to grow its way all the way back up to the top of the plant there. So I am going to untangle this and we're going to see just how long that vine is, and then we are definitely going to have to trim it back. All right, you guys, you ready for the big reveal? There it is. That is how long that vine is, and I had no clue because it had climbed all the way back up to the top of the plant. But it is definitely like hitting the couch, so we're going to give it a quick trim. Okay guys, I feel like I gotta hunch over a little bit here, but as you can see, my Begonia Maculata, and you probably noticed this in a few recent videos where you've seen her, is getting incredibly tall again, like super tall, and I don't really want her to be this tall. She is starting to try to topple over again, even though I do have her in a rather large cover pot that is super heavy. So I am just gonna take this tallest one down again, and when I get up in here, you'll be able to see the last place I cut it, and she grew back so freaking fast. I'm actually gonna cut lower than that spot this time, and then we're gonna be able to get multiple propagations out of this cutting for her. And once again, we're just gonna be going straight into water with those. So let's get closer up in here so that you can see where I made that last cut and where we're gonna make the new cut. But I do think everything else right now, like, I'm happy with it. So we're gonna leave it. That part's not too out of control. It's just this top part. All right, you guys, hopefully this will stay in focus, but if you can see right here is where I made that last cut. And if you saw my recent Begonia Maculata care guide, I talked about how the new branches, when you prune it, tend to go straight back up from where you cut. So that's what happened here. So because I cut here and we got this tall that fast, I am going to go much lower. So let me angle you down some more. So I'm actually thinking I would prefer to cut right above this node, but I do have this branch secured to this branch because this branch was flopping all over the place. So if I do that, I'm going to need to move that twist tie down a little bit, but I really think that's where I want to cut it because it just grew so fast. I mean, we're only one node up here is where we cut, right? Off screen. If I cut here, that's really not going to do me much good. So I really want to cut below that one. So I think I'm going to adjust that support real quick, and then that's where we're going to make our cut. Okay, so that support's down lower. So once again, I'm just gonna cut right above this node. I'm gonna try not to hit this leaf, and we're just gonna make a clean cut straight through here. It's one of the thickest branches I have ever cut through on this begonia. All right, there we go. Alright, you guys, so this right here is probably going to be the singular most time-consuming thing that we've got to tame today, because from surface level right here, we don't look too bad, because a while back I did try to stake up these petioles so this plant wasn't flopping all over the place, and it looked great. I only had to use one stick and it was fabulous, but not anymore. This is what's happening now. You see all that? You see all that curvature going on there? Like, I don't know what is happening here, but that is not cute. That is not cute. So I think we're gonna have to add another stick in here for support, and we're gonna have to attach some of them to that stick on the opposite side to help keep them from all trying to lean the one direction. So we are gonna be using, well, and also you guys, I was using the plant Velcro, as you can see up in there, but I'm starting to think maybe I'd have better luck if I used my twist ties. So we might try the twist ties instead of the plant Velcro today. But really, I mean, like I said, doesn't look too bad here, but like, yeah, no, just no. So I think we're gonna move into the kitchen. So I have like a bigger workspace area to like set this on, and we're gonna work on it in there. All right, you guys, real quick reminder before we get into this, Toby and I do still have a roomie right now. So if you hear some noise in the background, that's what you're hearing. I know you guys are used to it being pretty quiet in the background, but there is somebody else in this household right now other than just me and Toby. But I think what we're gonna do with this plant first is we're gonna go ahead and take off all of this plant Velcro that's on here, and we're gonna see kind of how it's hanging out just without support, and then we'll start figuring out who we're going to attach where, and I will kind of talk you guys through it. And I mean, this is just, unfortunately, this is something that happens with Alocasia a lot, and especially Cupreas. I know plenty of other people on Instagram plant people, other YouTube plant people who have to do this kind of thing with their Cupreas especially. So let's get all of this off of here real quick first and see what we're working with. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna leave this support where it is. Let's look at this. So we're all, well, you know, this is actually kind of better news because these two at least are going this direction now when I release them from the plant Velcro. So that's nice. So that means when we put our other support here, once again, just 2 chopsticks glued together with some super glue. When we put this in on this side, that'll make it really easy for us to attach these two to that support. And then we can still attach this largest leaf over here back onto this support like it was before. And then we're just gonna look at these 2 leaves and see where the best, you know, place and kind of the best way to attach them is. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to stick this support down in here. And with this aeroid mix, sometimes it's hard to get these in because I hit big old pieces of bark and various other things. But we're just gonna kind of work it kind of like you're screwing a screw back and forth a little bit here until we get down in there, until I feel it hit the bottom. Ideally, I want it to hit the bottom. Okay, so let me see here. Let me find a small piece of plant Velcro and see how I'm feeling about the plant Velcro. So with the plant Velcro, you kind of have to like attach it to the support first as tightly as you can, and then attach it to the plant's petiole, because if you don't, it just slides down the support, like, and the petiole, especially because this is so heavily dragging down. So that is how you have to work with the plant Velcro. Now, even then, I find sometimes it ends up sliding down, which is why I'm kind of thinking I want to try the twist ties today. What do you guys think? Twist ties, plant Velcro, twist ties, plant Velcro. Let's try the twist ties. Give me 1 second to grab some. Well, you guys, apparently I only have 1 twist tie not in use, and it's a white one, which would not be my preference, but let's just use this to try to get some of these that are hanging really low, or at least one of them started, and then we'll see. Oh, my chopstick came unglued. Give me, you know, 2 minutes, you guys, to get this glued back together. All right, you guys, while that was drying, I went and grabbed a twist tie off of the Begonia Maculata because I had 2 attaching 1 stem to a support and it really didn't need it. So we now have at least 2 twist ties to use. So while I'm still kind of, you know, waiting on this one, hoping that, fingers crossed, is fully cured this time, I'm gonna go ahead and use one of these twist ties to attach our biggest leaf over here back to this support. And when you're doing this, you guys, you really want to try to get it pretty much as high up as you can, because as you saw how this plant was looking before, if you were to attach it down here, this part can still start to droop down and it will continue to droop down even more. So as high as you can get up is your best bet. So we're just gonna come up here and then we're gonna gently tie it around. And once again, you kind of wanna make sure that you're getting it tight enough so that it's not gonna like slide down, but you also don't wanna be like, you know, choking the plant off, if you know what I mean. And so right here, I find the twist ties, those tend to stay in place a little bit better than that plant Velcro. So I'm just gonna get this twisted around. This is actually a really long twist tie, and we may end up using it to secondarily secure another plant up here since it is so long. But right now, I just want to get this one attached. So there we go. So you can see now this leaf is sticking up nice and straight here, looking beautiful. So let's see here. I'm still kind of worried about trying to attach them to this one. I want to make sure it's totally securely set with the glue. Now, once again, we know we want to pull at least one of these up, and this one, I don't know, they're both really close to the stick, so I'm trying to decide, but this one is the one that is really like right across from this sleeve. So for symmetry purposes, I would prefer to get this one attached up there. It is kind of, however, I don't know if y'all can see, but it's kind of like S-shaping here a bit. So I feel like it's gonna be a little bit harder to get it straight up and secured to that than this one would be. So we might just do this one first. All right, you guys, I do think I'm gonna try to attach this one, but I feel like it needs to be on this side of the chopstick, like closest to me. So I'm gonna try and see if I can't maneuver it without hurting anything. Work with me, plant, work with me, work with me. There we go. Okay, because this way it's gonna be easier to attach to this side, I think, and have it face this side. But let's see if I can get this attached. Everybody hold your breath. Cross your fingers that the chopstick doesn't come unglued again. This is what happens when, you know, you don't do the prep work the night before that you swore you were gonna do the night before, and instead you wait until half an hour before you have to record a video. All right, you guys, sorry about that noise in the background. We are right underneath the upstairs bathroom, and it does sound like my roommate is getting ready to take a shower. So we are going to try to ignore that noise. But anyways, we've got this leaf attached here now, so that looks pretty good, right? I think that looks nice. And thankfully the chopsticks stayed together. Now I am still struggling with where we're gonna put this one because it is hanging down the lowest and it is in that weird S shape. So we're gonna leave this one to last, I guess. Now this one, this nice big beautiful one over here, this one is really stiff. I don't know if you guys can see when I'm trying to move it here, like it's very stiff. Like I'm almost scared I'm gonna like snap it if I try to move it too far. And that is the one that the new leaf is coming out of too, so that's probably part of the reason it's feeling that way. Once again, not looking horrible over here. I mean, it's a little bit lower. I would like it right about there if at all possible. But I don't have really a good way, I think, to, you know, make that happen. Let me think for a second. We're gonna get a little crazy with it, you guys. This is all very impromptu since I decided that I wasn't gonna use the plant Velcro and I only had 2 twist ties. So let me go grab a little something else for us to use from upstairs real quick, and I will be right back. Actually, I lied, you guys. It was on my kitchen table because I just used it earlier for something else. I swear I don't know where my brain is today. All right. We've got some twine. No, this is really string. Twine's like more made out of rope material, right? So just some string, like you guys can see, just your basic little kind of craft string, I guess. But I'm gonna grab my scissors. Okay, so what I think we're gonna do, and I don't know why I am waving at you guys with scissors right now. Put those down, that's dangerous. So I'm going to take this and I am going to wrap it around this petiole, and because I can tie this around this petiole here, when I want to attach this to something else, I can now go further because this end is tied. Well, I'm gonna try and get it tied. I swear, you guys, you think I could tie a knot today, huh? There we go. So I don't want to go too tight once again, but I don't want it to be like falling down the petiole either. This is the struggle, you guys, is like trying to get things tied tight enough, but not too tight, but you don't want them to slide down and like, yeah. It's fun times, guys, fun times. But this is what we gotta do sometimes, you know? We gotta help our plants look good. We don't, you know, we need them flopping all over the place. So now I can use this and I can take this and keep it as long as I want it to be. And then I can just decide, okay, where can I pull it to and what can I tie this other end to that's gonna keep it where I want it. So right now I am getting close to this chopstick here. I feel like my pot wants to fall over. Okay, let me put it back in the cover pot since it's trying to fall over on me now. So that will help stabilize it a bit. Okay, so you can see I'm pulling it over here. I'm gonna wrap it around here and I'm just gonna see, okay, where do I want it? What about right there? How's that look, you guys? Does that look good? I know it's kind of overlapping this other leaf, but ideally this leaf will start to point down more and I can have it face this direction because that's actually where it's tied to on the stick. So that's just going to take a few days probably for this leaf to learn to point down. It'll get there, but I think right now for this one, let me slide this up a little bit. I think that's going to be pretty good right there. So I am going to try to tie this off. This, once again, this is where things get a little bit tricky. And it's definitely a struggle, you guys, to keep your plants, you know, staked up. Oh, our chopstick just split again. Dang it. All right, you guys, I'm gonna let this cure overnight because that's originally what I did with that one, and hopefully that will resolve the problem. I'm gonna film the close-up of me doing it in the morning, and I will splice in that and what the finished product looks like when I'm editing this video. And my apologies for all of the malfunctioning, you know, support sticks today. But all in all, I feel pretty good. Like, I feel like we got things accomplished today. I mean, we've been at it almost all day long, and, you know, things are looking better. I don't have anything trailing the floor. My Begonia Maculata is not at risk of toppling over. This guy is going to be 100% looking better, which you should be seeing right now if I'm splicing this in during editing. You'll see that he has gotten all tied up and is looking beautiful. And all of our propagations we did earlier are sitting above the sink in the west facing window in my kitchen doing their thing. And I'll be sure to give you guys an update on those at a future date. But I really appreciate you guys coming along with me today in my attempt to, tame back some of the plants that were going wild in this household. I hope it has been helpful to you. I hope maybe you've learned a thing or two. And of course, if you have enjoyed this video today, please be sure to hit that like and or subscribe button down below. It really does help me to grow my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for joining me, you guys, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Aloha. Hi, Toby. You come to say hi? Come to eat? You can eat. Oh, hello. You want to say hi real quick? No? You want to get in things you shouldn't get in? No, don't get in that. Say hi. How is everybody doing? Toby's like, Mom, you've been filming all day. It's time to quit. It's time to quit and spend time with Toby. All right, buddy. In a second. Whew. Fur all up in my face.